There's a strange kind of attraction that doesn't feel exciting at first. It feels confusing. You meet someone who never fully lets you in. They're warm one moment, distant the next. And instead of losing interest, you find yourself thinking about them more, not because they treat you well, but because they don't. If you've ever wondered why your mind clings harder to emotionally distant people than to those who are actually available, this isn't a weakness. It's your brain doing something very human. Imagine this. You're texting someone you care about. Sometimes they reply with depth and warmth. Other times, they go quiet. Hours pass, maybe days. When they finally respond, your chest loosens a little. You feel relief. And without realizing it, that relief feels like connection. Over time, you're not chasing them, you're chasing that feeling of emotional release. And that's where attachment quietly forms. At the core of this is how the brain processes uncertainty. The human nervous system is wired to pay more attention to what feels unpredictable. When something is consistent, the brain relaxes. When something is inconsistent, the brain stays alert. Emotionally distant people create a pattern of mixed signals, small moments of closeness, followed by withdrawal. And that inconsistency keeps your emotional system activated. Your brain starts treating the relationship like an unresolved question that needs an answer. Here's the part most people don't realize. The attachment isn't coming from love or compatibility. It's coming from dopamine. Dopamine isn't the pleasure chemical. It's the anticipation chemical. It spikes when rewards are uncertain. When you don't know if you'll get emotional validation, your brain releases more dopamine trying to predict it. That's why emotionally unavailable people can feel addictive. You're not attached to them, you're attached to the emotional chase your brain is running. There's another layer that goes even deeper. Attachment patterns formed early in life shape how we respond to emotional distance. If you grew up having to earn attention, or if affection felt inconsistent, your nervous system may interpret emotional distance as familiar. Familiar doesn't feel safe, but it feels known. And the brain often chooses the known over the healthy. So when someone is emotionally distant, it can trigger an old emotional script. If I can just try a little harder, I'll finally feel secure. This is where dark psychology enters, not as manipulation, but as awareness of hidden dynamics. Emotional distance creates a subtle power imbalance. The person who cares more often feels less control, while the distant person unconsciously sets the emotional tempo. The brain reads this imbalance as significance. The mind starts equating emotional scarcity with value. Silence feels meaningful. Detachment feels important. And suddenly emotional absence feels louder than presence ever did. Notice how this shows up in modern relationships. The delete replies, the vague commitment, the emotional half-availability. Your mind fills in the gaps. You replay conversations, you analyze tone, you search for meaning in small signals. This mental effort strengthens attachment. Even when the relationship itself isn't giving much back, you feel invested because your brain has been working overtime to make sense of uncertainty. But here's the grounding truth. Emotional intensity is not the same as emotional connection. Consistency doesn't activate the nervous system in the same dramatic way, but it builds trust. Emotionally distant people activate your stress response, not your sense of safety. And over time, that stress can feel like chemistry, even when it's quietly draining you. If you've been caught in this pattern, there's nothing wrong with you. Your brain is responding exactly as it was designed to. The shift begins with awareness. When you feel pulled toward emotional distance, pause and ask yourself, is this connection or is this activation? Is T's P's or is this anticipation? That question alone can break the automatic loop. Healthy attachment feels steady, not urgent. It doesn't require decoding silence or earning warmth. It allows you to exhale. When you start valuing how a connection feels in your body rather than how intensely it occupies your thoughts, you begin retraining your nervous system toward emotional safety. Attachment to emotionally distant people isn't about desire. It's about the brain seeking resolution. And once you understand that, you don't need to fight the feeling. You simply stop mistaking emotional distance for depth. That clarity changes everything.